start to put tension on my string drawback, I was like, okay, I'm gonna smoke.
It's him. You can look at the horns when he's dead. I'm in the zone. Let the arrow go. Just perfect.
When they lose their front shoulders, that's how you know they're smoking.
Went about 5-10 more yards. We probably went 20 yards total. Kept them. We tried getting back up. And I saw him pull up.
We rushed 4 meters rods that night. We got like 156 and something like that. And then the next day we came up to 163 even.
You're listening to the White Cat Outdoors podcast, bringing you to the table where we talk about the outdoors.
I can't stop laughing. What's going on, guys? I'm being told it's episode 121 by Nick, so we're gonna go with that. And we're having a heck of a time getting started today, so we might be looking for a new studio location soon.
No,
but, probably
it's
not.
Good energy in the gym.
Yeah, we love it here.
My voice is back, so it's not going to be nearly as annoying.
Yeah, you were driving me nuts last week.
It was rough.
I was not having it. You were hacking like a buffoon right into the mic.
It was rough.
Yeah.
I could have hit you.
Yeah, I could have too.
You guys aren't man enough.
Man enough to listen to you hack into a mic?
I could handle each of you with one arm.
Right.
Yeah. I hear we got some bad news.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed. But
I'm going to blame Tom.
I'm so mad I could spit, so you tell it.
I'm going to blame Tom for this.
Why?
Because you're the one that brought it to our attention.
It's probably a very, very, I shouldn't say probably, it is a good thing he brought it to our attention.
So
like
basically,
the other thing that I brought to your attention, because you guys wanted to hunt a national forest, and we started planning our trip around that, then I'm like, wait.
Nick was the one that did all of the bottom line research for this and was just like, okay, find a place to hunt. He's like, we were sitting here and he's like, you can hunt all of these places. I was like, okay, cool. And apparently Nick did zero research because at every turn something was going wrong.
So basically what we found out is you can't hunt Sundays in Virginia unless you've got private land. So
we don't have that.
Where we were headed was an 8-hour trip, and we decided it's not worth the drive to do 2 days because we couldn't get off anymore for work. So
we could only hunt till noon. So
we literally were
basically
driving
the first day is going to be more scouting than hunting.
Yeah. So basically we only had like 12 hours of hunting time available. Like Tom said, the first day is going to be used just trying to scout and locate birds for a 16-hour drive, and it just isn't going to work.
Wasn't adding up.
I would rather personally, wait till Ohio's opener and just go for a weekend, across the border.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, this trip was a very, very last minute thing. Like you brought it up out of nowhere. Like we were not planning this at all. And you're like, you know what? We're going places. And it just,
I was really looking forward to it.
Very little prep was going into it. And it showed. It definitely showed.
Well, here's the thing. There's that bill that's passed in Virginia that like next year you'll be able to hunt Sundays.
Since finding this out, you've been apparently doing a lot of research.
Yeah, but it doesn't go into effect for this year.
That's dumb.
So, but that's why you can hunt on private land on Sundays. But it's like I can't remember what the bill was called, but it doesn't go into effect this year.
Yeah, so no help for us.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, instead of going to Virginia this weekend,
it's not going to be a waste of a weekend.
No, we're going to head down to the co-op and buy our seed and fertilizer for upcoming planting season. So I figured,
give the rundown on that stuff.
Yeah, figure out, what we're doing. Tom, I would say, kind of mans that operation. So we'll, for
He's
once, Tom,
do something.
For once, I think Tom's going to be the main talker on this episode. So Tom, why don't you run us down? What are the plans for food plots this year?
So we want to get corn in. Reason being because corn is a great late season food plot.
Mm-hmm.
It offers quick energy, easy to get to in those harsh winter storms.
Are you guys planting any corn out at the farm, or are you just planting stuff up at the?
We really don't have the room for a substantial amount of corn.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Especially with how much ag is around us.
Yeah, doesn't make sense. I see. I feel you.
Then we're gonna try some beans. Great early season food plot.
Also, if we're not harvesting beans, so it actually does end up being a nice late season plot too if they're standing
if they make
still.
it, yeah.
But those offer, great protein antler development for the deer.
What was your we were talking before the podcast about our issues with beans in the past. And
Yeah,
basically
if you've been watching or listening to the podcast for the past couple years, you've heard all about our woes with the beans.
yeah,
So
and
I think the biggest issue is where we're hunting in New York is nothing but cornfields.
it's actually home of some of the largest dairy farms in America.
Yeah, a lot of corn, and there's literally no beans around. So we plant this 1 acre of beans, and the deer are like,
They
"Oh,
love it."
what is this?" And they just mow it right down. So we've been combating that for a couple years, and I think what we're going to do this year is put.
It was actually a recommendation. Well, we've done it up at a different property, but Owen Zimmer has kind of recommended this idea to us as well.
Yeah, so basically what you do is you run 2 lines of fence about 4 or 5 feet apart from each other. And you don't have to put up like a solid fence. Literally all we did was, when we did up at the other farm, was ran rope from like driveway markers. And so you have 2 rows about 4 feet apart going along the perimeter of your food plot. And
They only need to be 4 or 5 foot tall.
yeah, something that a deer would have to jump over.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is deer don't have the depth perception to see how far those 2 ropes are apart. So they won't jump over it and get into your food plot.
It's remarkable how well it works because it looks ridiculous.
Yeah, you're
When
like,
you-
what the hell is that going to do? So
Yeah.
And how we did it to avoid deer just going under it was on the outside fence row. We had 1 rope about 2 feet off the ground, and then another rope.
So like
4
knee and
feet.
shoulder height.
Yeah. And then on the inside row of fencing, we just ran 1 rope in the middle. So it was like 3 different rope levels, so they couldn't just duck under it. And
Yeah.
the only way through it was over it, and they won't jump over it because they
Gotta
can't tell
swim
how far.
through it, not over it.
And it worked really well. We did that for
Sweet corn.
sweet corn, mainly because we were trying to harvest it as well on top. I mean, it was kind of for the deer, but we wanted them to stay away from that plot until late season. Mm-hmm.
Once
after
you got what you wanted.
yeah,
out
once
of
we
it.
got what we wanted exactly. So I think if we're gonna do beans, I think we have to do that this year.
No, absolutely.
So
Yeah, and like you said, just get like some bamboo sticks or something to tie it up with.
something cheap. Yeah, I don't because price of everything. Your dad was just saying that PVC fencing because that's what we used in the. I don't think it was driveway markers, but like PVC fencing.
Oh, I thought it was those green driveway stakes.
Oh, I know what those metal. Those,
That's
like,
what we used.
Like triangle things.
Yeah,
I
because
know.
they
Yeah,
have
my-
those little hooks we just wrap the string
Yeah,
around.
Yeah,
that
you're
makes
probably
sense.
right. Yeah.
I don't know how much those are either, but
I don't think you'd need that many of them, though.
no, because you can get them in the ground a little bit. You could pull that rope tight and space them out far.
Yeah, even if you put a couple binders in there to
Yeah,
help tighten them, it probably work really well.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. And then, of course, you're going to do your basic clover, chicory, brassica,
Tell you what,
radishes.
those beets that you put in last year, when we walked that food plot the other day, there was so many of them.
Yeah, and they only have like 1 bite taken out of them.
Yeah,
I think it was because we planted them late. They got planted really late, if you think about it. And
well, you want those things. Those are more of
Yeah,
like
it's a late season.
It's a late.
food plot.
They're
Yes.
underground. You
Well-
want the root type things for later in the season.
yeah, but with the amount of snow we had this year, I think it was harder for the deer to dig. Like, I don't think they knew they were there.
yeah,
That could be because when we got snow, we got a lot.
And it stayed. I think that was our issue this year.
we didn't. Usually we get a thaw or two in January, but it was solid. We didn't get snow until January, but it stayed all the way through February. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't get a
and
single
I think
thaw.
that's where it went wrong with the beets because they just didn't know they were there.
And that one was out in the big field, so it was. I don't want to say a high traffic area for like it's up closer to the road. It wasn't one of the ones back in the woods.
Yeah.
So I bet that had a contributing factor to it because when there's all that snow, there's not all the goldenrod out there hiding them, so it's less
Well,
cover
even-
for them, and like you said, there's a lot more snow for
Well,
them.
I know
dig
they were
through.
hitting it hard in rifle season before we got all the snow.
Yeah,
But there's just so many beets and turnips that they couldn't eat them all. Mm-hmm. But that actually works as good fertilizer for this year.
And the ground's already pretty soft because it really does break up the soil for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was just it was a harsh winter. Had our corn done a little better, I think that would have been a huge benefit. But
hopefully there's a
we're
lot
learning.
more than we think this year.
yeah,
I think we might be buying a corn planter
yeah.
this
Tom
weekend.
and I are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, saying heck with the help.
Sharing the planter.
Yeah, we're
Buy
just
your
gonna
own.
do it ourselves. That way, if something goes awry,
It's on
we
you.
got no one to blame but ourselves.
Yeah,
But we found a pretty nice corn planter.
a used one.
Yeah, for I think it was like $1,100. I think we can.
OBO.
We'll talk them down.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it looks like
$800.
a really nice corn planter.
Hook it right up to an ATV if you want.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a pull behind
How wide is it?
two
Two
row.
row.
Nice.
So we technically so Tom and I, we've talked about, we bought the mule on here, right? Mm-hmm. So Tom and I bought that mule, and we've been trying to make like our food plot, because like it's a remote location where we're at. We don't have a garage, barn, or anything. So
Yeah, you don't want to have to bring two tractors up this and
the
that.
mule, everything. So we've been trying, Tom and I have been trying to get everything to work with one piece of equipment. And we're getting there. But this corn planter would allow us to plant with the side-by-side, which I think will be super beneficial. It's basically just on like a gear.
like a rotary.
Rope. Well, yeah, it's a pull behind, but then there's like a rope that you pull to engage and disengage it. So when you're turning, you're not still planting seed.
Yeah.
The 3-point hitch ones are nice because you can just lift them up.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard to convert it to a
Oh no, I
3-point
could slap a
hitch.
3-point hitch on
Yeah.
there like nothing.
Yeah, then you
Well,
could have it work for a tractor or
Oh yeah,
I mean, even if it's a pull behind, you can have it work for a tractor. It's
Oh yeah. So
that's interesting. You guys didn't tell me about that.
this happened
On the ride over.
Oh,
Yeah, I was on the old.
was it on Marketplace? Or
Well, I
something?
was started with Marketplace, and I wasn't having a ton of luck. And I told Tom, I said, these old timers that are selling 2-row corn planters, they don't have Facebook. They're
Yeah.
probably still using Craigslist. They want to talk to Craig, see what he's got on his list. So I looked there, and boom, found a couple nice ones actually within a couple hours. This one here is an hour and a half.
Nice.
So I think it's going to be beneficial. We'll probably contact the guy tonight, see if it's worth it.
Yeah, I'm excited because we had big plans for the corn last year, and it ended up not being so great. But I'm excited to have a fair amount of corn up there.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be huge.
And we're gonna have beans, and we're not gonna jump the gun and plant early June, and then get 8 inches of rain and everything rots in July.
I mean, I feel like that wouldn't happen again this year because we had just an absolutely
exceptional
ridiculous
amount.
July. But
I'm not
still,
even
there's
gonna
no
risk it.
point. Yeah, there's no point in
The
risking
corn we
it.
have to get in.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, but that's different.
But that was also, if you think about it, that was the first time we had broke ground where that corn was at in how long would you say?
ever.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
have
we have
never
never.
done it, and it's just
It's been a hay
a
field.
natural hay field. He doesn't even plant hay. He
Yeah,
just-
it's not even. Yeah, it's bedding. That's all it is. So,
Maybe
or
30
I'm
years.
saying cattle bedding, not like deer bedding.
Yeah.
like he cuts it for bedding.
used to.
yeah,
used
not
to.
anymore.
Not anymore. So I think that might have had something. I mean, the ground was ridiculously hard. It took like a day and a half of rototilling to get that. Like honestly, it would have been nice to have a little cultivator or a plow to
Yeah,
break
like
that
three
up.
bottom plow.
Yeah. But I also heard you can do a lot of damage with those if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
So, I
I
also
tell you
Best
what,
way
I
to
don't-
learn is just to do it anyway.
have you sound like you got a story.
No, I was just saying I don't have any experience with plowing. I've gone through with discs after someone experienced plowed the field. That's no problem. Mm-hmm. But I know you got to roll it all a certain way, and you have to have the right depth set and
Yeah.
spaced out just right.
I guess we could probably figure it out, but we're just probably gonna rototill it again.
Yeah,
If we
for
can,
the amount that we do rototilling is
and if we can get that whole plot that we want to or into corn, I think it would totally change
it would.
that field for hunting.
It would.
It
no
changed
doubt.
the whole property.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
'cause
know
that's a lot of corn.
And then are we still talking 7-card stud for our
I
hidden food
love that
plots?
stuff. That stuff is sweet.
It was nice.
Yeah, except I don't want to do 7-card stud in the foundation
Oh,
unless you
Unless
wanted to.
Nick wants.
I don't
Why?
know,
Why
it-
not? Why would
Yeah,
you
Because
guess-
I would like to have a variety.
well,
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
7-card stud is a variety.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tom's saying a variety of varieties.
Yeah. I just thought that.
So what are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
I don't know. I just thought a Cloverfield would look nice there.
It would. Clover would be nice there.
But hey, that's your section that you like to hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nick,
it turns out you still.
well, we
go out
already
there and hunt.
decided that it's all yours, Tom. If you shoot the biggest buck out of the spot, then
Yeah, my
it
big
belongs
buck
to you.
did actually run right through that food plot. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we have them on camera there. What, like a day or two before?
yeah, and
Something like
both
that.
of your food plots.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
because I just know where to put food. Those are both brand new food plots I picked.
Yeah, we're moving the one that I hunt. We're not putting that one there.
No, oh well, this is news to me. Let's talk
No,
about
we've
It's
it.
gonna
talked
be in
about
that
it.
in the same
Yeah.
area, just not in the lowest point.
Yeah, because it was way too wet last year.
Yeah,
It was way
I
too
mean,
wet.
I tell you what though, in that stand, it looks nice up there.
It does. It does.
wish it
and
wasn't so
I
wet
like
there.
the spot. I wish it wasn't so wet.
Dig a
But
ditch.
We could dig a ditch around it.
we could dig a
My
ditch
grandpa
around
has.
it.
Grandpa's got a backhoe.
You would not. You could do that with how small that food plot is. You could do it with 3 guys and
Yeah,
3
but how much
shovels.
fun would it
Yeah.
be with a backhoe?
It would probably be faster with shovels.
All right, you run a shovel, I'll run a backhoe. I just want to run the backhoe. No, you're probably right though. It wouldn't be that bad. We could consider that idea if you really.
We'll have to go over there and look at it and
if
see
we can't
what.
find another tree, because remember there was that other spot I opened up.
I
It was too
wouldn't
close-
say that spot. I don't dig that spot. It would be somewhere else,
Closer to
more
your
towards my
ladder.
double. Yeah, but we'll have to go down there. The 3 of us put the mines together. Maybe a couple bush lights.
If we're good.
And we'll get it figured out.
Got to start thinking about that stuff though, because
We gotta get
with
up
as
there.
soft as it is, this would be the time to dig a ditch.
I think that place stays plenty soft.
Yeah, it's wet all year.
But yeah, actually, that wouldn't be a. Tom and I I've done a lot of ditch digging for food plots. Tom and I did like a 15-acre field. We did a ditch all the way around. We did,
That's a lot of ditch.
yeah. We did not do that with hand shovels.
I would imagine not.
I mean, I don't even know how much pipe do you think we laid that year in the ditches?
Oh, you laid pipe in it.
Oh
too.
yeah, we did drainage.
Oh man.
Ed went nuts.
You went all out. You weren't just digging a trench. It was a drain.
Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah,
That's
with like
whack.
big catch basins with like huge rocks and everything. Oh, it was. I'm telling you, it. You can the trail that we put in. We put ditches along a road.
Yeah, I've seen that
Yeah.
going in, but
But like now, you haven't seen it since he widened it. You can
Yeah.
take 2 pickup trucks past each other. Like it's
Damn.
huge.
that's a lot.
Basically, too many people have gotten hung up with equipment
Yeah.
getting back to the field. So,
So he said the hell
let's
with it.
widen it. But yeah, it's pretty nice though. I mean, we turned a swamp basically into prime food plots.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's whack.
nice though.
It is nice.
What other food plot related stuff why don't we talk about, this is kind of food plot related, our orchard, the issue we ran into this year.
Yeah, did you look into that at all? or-
Tom and I already fixed it.
Oh, you did go back up and take care of it?
So Tom, tell us your discovery the other weekend. We
So-
went up to the cabin.
Yeah, we went up there last year, planted a nice apple orchard.
Well, no. Apple
There's
and pear and
plums.
plum.
Apple, plum, pear, yeah, nice fruit orchard. And we went up last weekend to scout turkeys, and I was
Tons
like,
of turkeys, by the way.
yeah, a lot of birds. Well, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring some fertilizer up, sprinkle a little fertilizer on our fruit orchard, keep it happy. And I go out to fertilize, and to my discovery, rabbits had somehow got into the cages we put around the trees.
I
And-
know how they got in. I realized when Tom and I repaired the problem, if I can fit my fist through the fence, a rabbit's getting in. Mm-hmm. So I know what to do next year. I want to get screen
yeah.
for the bottom 2
For
foot.
like chicken wire or something.
Yeah. But anyway, so Tom, what'd you figure out? What happened when the rabbits got in there?
They chewed the
Tell me
bark
about the
off the
rabbits.
bottom. So that's kind of a bummer. Some of them didn't even get chewed. Some of them got chewed all the way around. Some of them got chewed
partially.
But we just went up there and doctored it with some tree Band-Aid. We're gonna see.
What is? I've never used it.
It's
What
like a
is
tar.
that stuff?
I don't know exactly what it is.
What's it made of? I mean,
don't
I'm sure
know.
it's like some sort of natural.
It's like
I don't know.
it looks
It's
like tar.
flammable and smells like lighter fluid.
Oh, so it's probably
And it-
probably not
And
natural.
I tell you what, and it really sticks to your hands.
Huh?
My dad, I think he said something about gloves. We didn't listen.
You never
Tom and
listened.
I's hands were both black. But
Huh.
I guess my hope is that it happened while the trees were dormant, and we
Fixed
fixed
it
it
while-
while they're dormant. So my hope is we repaired it enough to get them to survive. But I think it's called gilching. When
Girdling.
Girdle.
No, I thought girdling was when you cut into the tree.
What are you trying to say?
There's a way you can like peel bark around a tree. Like if you go all the way around, I thought it was called gilching. You guys stall for me for a
I'm
second.
pretty sure it's girdling.
Yeah, I know girdling is when you cut into it, but I don't know. I've never heard of gilching, or I don't even know what you're fully talking about because you haven't explained it. But I know that people do like grafting with trees, like they'll cut into them or cut bark away and add like a different kind of tree or plant to them. They
Yeah.
graft stuff, but I
Which
don't
they
know.
say you can do that to fix the tree. You can actually.
Okay, it is girdling, but
Weird. Yeah. Okay.
I thought you were talking about just like cutting a chainsaw line all the way, but you have to get rid of the bark. And basically, the rabbits have girdled some of the trees. But I'm hoping because it was done while it was dormant, we fixed it while it was dormant. I mean, that's literally just a theory with no knowledge.
Yeah. Just hope,
It's
wishful
hopeful
thinking.
And my hopeful thought is they just like scuffed off the very outer
Thin.
layer of the bark. It's not like they chewed all the way through the bark and got to the actual
The meat of the tree.
wood, the hardwood in the middle. So I'm hoping, I don't know, could be wrong.
Trees are funny. Like sometimes you can do like the littlest thing to them and they'll die, and then other times you can like snap them in half and they'll just keep going. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Well, how about that tree you and I found the other day while we were walking, Frank? That
Yeah, it
the
broke
tree,
off.
there was two trees next to each other, and one tree fell, and the root system lifted the roots out
like
of the ground.
tore
But,
halfway,
like
not
the
halfway
tree-
up the tree, but a lot of
like
the way
3
up the
foot up the tree. It ripped the like base of the tree out, and then over time it healed itself and just grew. And so like there's like this
a
huge
big arc.
yeah.
It's wild.
but you can see where it split like into the wood of the tree, and
Mm-hmm.
it survived. So it's
And it's not a big tree. It's not very old. So
No.
And I always like seeing like up at our camp, we have this huge ravine with these big like rock faces and stuff. And there's trees growing on a rock.
yeah,
And we try and plant these trees, and we put them
prime
in a tube
conditions.
and fertilize them, and can't get them to grow. I'm like, how can we not nurture this tree and get it to grow? Yet that one is literally growing on a rock.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's wild. You
I tell
never
you-
know what's gonna happen with them things.
I tell you what, the pine trees are looking pretty good though. I noticed our security line.
I expected those to do well because pines are usually a little bit more durable than
Yeah.
the trees that you really, really want, like your oak trees and stuff. It seems like those are just a bitch to get
Those
going.
pines, though, they're getting dangerously close to being prime buck rub size.
Yeah, then you really put them to the test, see if they're gonna survive.
Snap them right off.
It's funny how they do that. They just know they're like, okay, next year they'll be prime for. They're really gonna start growing next year, so the buck's
Right.
like, all right,
We're going
just
to
gonna
slow
go
that process right down.
snap this bitch off at 2 inches.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps up what we're doing for food plots, unless
Yeah, we're not planting any more trees this year. That
No.
was
No.
one thing we decided. We planted 3,000 trees in the past couple of years.
it's been a lot. Yeah, I bet you it's probably close to 3,000 trees.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of planting. It's like 3,000 times.
Yeah.
That's a lot of holes.
yeah,
But we're taking the year off, kind of assess what takes off and what doesn't,
yeah.
and
Next year, replace what's dying and
Yeah.
go from there.
Because we want some field left. We don't want to turn the
Yeah.
entire field into woods in 40 years.
Yeah,
So we kind of just did a couple like almost like hedgerows. Eventually, someday. But the property has no oak trees up until we started planting. Like there was
Yeah.
not a single oak tree on the whole farm, and I bet you we planted 1,500 of them.
Yeah, we planted a lot of oaks.
So
if hopefully half of them will make it, then there'll be quite a few.
yeah, it's gonna be sweet. I think, in that one patch we did, it's gonna be kind of like that grassy bottom oak flat that you see out west in 25 years, but you'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Figure it
The
out.
deer are gonna love it.
Yep. So I guess on that note, we'll wrap things up there. Sorry about the hopes on the Virginia hunt, but
Yeah, blame Nick.
But rest assured, we'll be still getting outside.